All right, so I had another one for you. How about what about the straight to TV specials or whatever? The Toy Story of Terror and Toy Story of the Time Forgot. Did you see this?
No, I've never seen them. I never really thought they were much to see. I figured they were, not really anything more than just cheap, cash in kids things.
Johnny, are you hearing this?
Yeah.
What? They're like 20-minute shorts, right?
Yeah, they're half-hour shorts.
I saw some of them.
But I just figured they're just, they didn't really put too much care into them because they're direct-to-DVD.
Sure, but at the same time, they don't have time to go and rehash everything they already did. Like, Toy Story of Terror is actually really, really good. It's like it's a suspense thriller with them. I think they're like in a hotel.
I just didn't pay them any mind because I figured they were just like shorts they made for kids, and usually when they make stuff for kids, they don't put any effort into it.
Wasn't Toy Story 1 for kids?
Well, no. That's my point, is that they had everyone in mind. It wasn't made for kids. Like something like, like Dora the Explorer. You're not going to find any enjoyment out of because it's made for kids, is what I'm talking about. I figured that's what they were.
If you never saw them, then how do you know if they're made for kids?
I just assume so. That's why I haven't seen them. Is because I just figured they're direct to DVD. They're 20 minutes. They're just kids shorts that don't do anything for anything.
You gotta check them out. Toy Story. No, okay. Granted, Toy Story: The Time Forgot is much less interesting than Toy Story of Terror.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can't really explain what the Toy Story of the Time Forgot was, but it just wasn't as good though.
Okay.
It was something to do with Bonnie and some other kid is going for a play day or something like that, and the toys were left in the room with all of, I think, the other kids' toys.
Mm-hmm.
And his toys consist of like dinosaur toys.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this and there's a couple, one dinosaur that's the leader of all the other toys or something like that, and then Buzz and Woody get captured or something like that, and they have some sort of, I don't know, I can't really remember exactly what it is, but it's not as good as Toy Story of Terror. Toy Story of Terror, obviously, I enjoy more because it's horror themed, and they didn't do anything like that in the Toy Story 1, 2, or 3. So, which in itself
did you beat it?
Makes it very different. Nice.
That is such a weird level. When did that happen in the movie? All right, we finally got past there. Ignore the star total. We didn't skip any levels. In Toy Story 1, Woody is really the bad guy. And that's why I like it a lot, because it really gives him way more character than just, I'm a good guy and I'm always going to do the right thing sort of thing. Like Mickey Mouse. He really had a lot of things going on in his head. And in the movie, because it solely focuses on Woody and Buzz, you really feel you have time to really identify with Woody.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I remember this one.
We just ran over Buzz.
Up there. There you go.
Wow, this game is really stupid hard.
Also, the steering is...
yeah, I remember the steering was really wonky.
Wonky does not describe this.
It's like helicopter controls?
No.
So, what do you think, Jonathan? Where do you stand on the whole Toy Story 3 and 4 thing? Because you just watched the Toy Story 4 trailer. What do you think?
It got me extremely excited for the movie.
Okay.
Because I love me some Toy Story.
Yeah. Who doesn't love Toy Story? Sean does not like his answer.
No, I just feel like there could be so much more to it. It just feels like the same story over and over and over again, and it's just like, I've seen this already.
Okay. Well, you gotta try Toy Story of Terror.
Well, that seems like something that might be more original, and that's what I was hoping for with Toy Story 3 and 4, was that they'll do something that they haven't done before. Something original, like Toy Story of Terror. If that was fleshed out into its own movie, that'd be worth it, But as it stands, Toy Story 3 and 4, I haven't seen Toy Story 4, obviously, but from the trailer, it just looks like it's going to be the same exact plot, just with slightly different characters, a slightly different setting, Do
you think it's actually going to be the last Toy Story?
Probably, considering how old it's probably not going to be the last Toy Story ever, because it's super successful, but
I'm sure they'll probably still have more direct-to-TV specials.
Yeah, I'm sure,
or something.
But I'm sure, because the voice actors themselves are getting kind of old, so...
Speaking of voice actors, who was the dude that did Slinky? Because he was a really good Nice.
The
He was a
Slinky?
really good replacement for Jim Varney, and Jim Varney was great.
Oh, I forget the guy's name, but he did do a good job.
Do you have a way that you would have done Toy Story 3?
I just would have done something that people hadn't seen before. Like, I really hate when a series just does the same movie over and over and over again. Like, that's why I don't like the new Star Wars films, because they're just remakes, basically, of the original trilogy from the 70s and 80s. Like, there's so many plot points that are just exactly the same, and they just keep redoing the same thing because they know it's, people are familiar with it and they'll like it because it's something that they've seen before. And I don't like that because I want to see something that I haven't seen before. If I wanted to see the original, I would just watch that because they're better.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I guess I see what you're talking about, but I'm kind of like the opposite in that too, because I like seeing what I know I like. It's like when you go to a restaurant and you're looking at the menu, and there's so many different things that is on that menu that you've never had before.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you try it, you're not going to like it, and you're like, oh man, I wish I just would have got what I always get.
See, I mean, that's where it just comes down to taste, because I'm completely different. See, when I go into a restaurant, I specifically try to order something I haven't eaten before.
Like, I think I mentioned it in the Mario Odyssey one about the like, I'll watch King Kong over and over again. Like, I like the same thing, or the Universal monster movies. Like, if they were to remake a new movie that is just like those 30s and 40s movies now, I'd watch it. Is it like, if it's like basically the same thing? Yeah, I just like more of the same.
Well, that's an exception, because I really would like to see a movie that's just like the originals, because that would be crazy if they could pull that off.
Yeah.
But because they make it so different now that it's basically unrecognizable, and you only know it's The Mummy because it says The Mummy in the title, then it becomes a totally different problem of it's too different, Then it's just like, I don't even know what this is anymore. It's this weird action film.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I always enjoyed the Mummy films from the 90s. The, what's his name? Brendan Fraser ones. I always liked those because... I don't know. They just felt more fun. They took themselves less seriously. You know what? I actually just watched the Brendan Fraser movies not long ago, like last week, 2 weeks ago, and I really wish I would have watched them years ago. I remember Johnny tried getting me to watch them a couple times, but here's why. Here's why I was so reluctant to watch them back then, because we owned The Mummy Returns. Okay, the second one. Mm-hmm. Here's why. I never watched that series, because the first one, or the second one, sucked. Like, The Mummy Returns, I did not like that at all. Going back and rewatching it, I'm like, okay, now this is why I never watched them. But however, when I watched the first one, I really, really enjoyed The Mummy, just the first one. If they would have just stopped there, that was a great one. But when they brought in like The Rock and the computer animated, looks like a video game. Really bad 3D graphics. It
just looked really bad. Like, I like the Mummy when he's in his mummy form.
Yeah.
And when he's like regenerating and stuff. I'm like, no, don't regenerate. You look cooler as the Mummy,
Yeah.
Because I never watched the first Mummy. If I watched the first Mummy back then I'd be all over watching it. But I still wouldn't like the second and third.
Yeah.
But I regret missing the first one.
And you were just the right age to watch the first one too. I'm surprised
I know.
You missed that.
I mean, like, we had the second one. It's like, the second one was so stupid. I hate it. And watching it now, I hate it. And it's like I said, it reminds me, like, okay, this is why I never wanted to watch it. When Johnny was like, why don't you watch these movies? Well, if I wanted to watch the first one, I would have been like, yeah, all right.
Well, you see, I like all of them.
Yeah,
the third one was definitely a drop.
Yeah. That's why they stopped him after that, because they weren't they planning a fourth one?
I don't think so.
I don't know. The third one came a long time after the.
I maybe think it was a milestone.
The second, maybe not a long time. Maybe. Well, yeah. I don't know how long it was.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else then.
Johnny, do you like more of the same, or new when it comes to
combination?
Okay.
He's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. I am perfectly fine with seeing a rehash of what I've already seen, as long as it's done.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm saying too. Like with Toy Story 3. Like, yeah, I get what Sean's saying. It takes like the same formula and repeats it. But
I don't know why that bugs me so much more than it bugs you. I guess because I'm so.
It's a different setting. I guess so. It's a different characters, different setting. Still has a little bit of a twist of its own. Like, you might know that one of these characters is going to be bad. You might sense that from the beginning of Toy Story 3 that Lotso Huggins is a bad guy. But sometimes it's about the journey. getting to it.
Yeah, I
is,
guess.
you know.
But it's the same. It's the same exact journey you've seen before, so it's not an exciting experience because you know every point of the movie beat for beat.
I wouldn't say that with Toy Story 1 because, like you said, Toy Story 1.
Well, that's
Woody was the antagonist. So
right.
now
That's what I mean. Toy Story 1 is so much more original. Like you don't know what's going to happen in that film. I mean, you could probably guess because it's a Disney movie.
So really, the only thing that repeats for you the same is Toy Story 2 and 3.
Well, yeah, 2 and 3. Well, 3 specifically because Toy Story 2 was original because it had its own story separate from Toy Story 1. But Toy Story 3 repeated 2, and now Toy Story 4 is also going to repeat 2 and 3.